out of 10. Follow me! Good morning, up 4. Good morning, PL!
And now the big day has arrived. Our warriors have gone through basic warrior, warrior advanced, or light leaders. They've completed the STX as a unit, and now the FTX has arrived. And on the morning of the FTX, our platoon leader Brent started us off with some PT to get everybody motivated and ready to take on the enemy.
Now we'll do some rifle PT. This is the weapon that you will live by over the next 3 days. We will PT with it. Good to go? Next exercise will be like this. We'll extend our starting position. Will be extending your rifle straight out in front of you. It will be a 3-count exercise. First part will be 1, 2, 3, 1. Everybody understand? Yeah. Starting positions. Move. We will do 10 of them. I will count the candidates. You count the repetition. We'll go up first. 1, 2, 3. Everybody understand? Ready? Exercise. 1, 2, 3. 1. 1, 2, 3. 2. 1, 2, 3. 3. 1, 2, 3. 4. 1, 2, 3. 5. 1, 2, 3. 6. 1, 2, 3. 7. 1, 2, 3. 8. 1, 2, 3. 9. 1, 2, 3. 10. Recover, shake it out. And run. Up 4, out of 10. Follow me.
After completion of PT, the warriors moved out and got some excellent chow out of the DFAC. A great way to start an FTX is with a good belly full of good chow. And then the warriors fell on their gear, and unit leaders, team leaders, squad leaders conducted the PCIs and rock drills. At the completion of PCI and rock drills, the entire regiment formed up in front of the Huey that was so graciously provided by the Army Aviation Historical Foundation for a big group photo. Take a look here, everybody. This is the largest one shepherd formation ever.
Stay in the low grass until your ball's forward. Here's the deal. In that high grass you're in, you're not in the FTX right now. That bird's going to circle around. Watch what they do. They're going to land. You guys will get out. There's a bit of administrative safety thing. Get out, run past the blades, go to the ground, face out, right? The bird will take off empty. It's only doing a 30-second loop. So the pragmatic side is I need these people in that gate as fast as possible. The other thing is I'm going to put a boot in your ass because you're going to hear AKs open up and some of you are going to start near missing. I have seen them kill a couple of people who made the mistake of trying to fight their way off this LZ. You're in a kill zone. Get up and fucking run. Alright? Just run for that tree line. You're in the FTX when you land. You're not in the FTX as you stand here and as they administratively load you. Understand? Alright, so when it's your turn, that's what you do. In the meantime, I know it's exciting, but stay here, okay? Tell me all you want.
After the group photo, the Missouri Militia then got to be the first to ride the helos to get their helo insertion into the battle space. And then once they completed their insertion and moved out, the helos came back around, and then the OP4, we formed up into our sticks and waited our turn to ride. Brent took the command element and his recon element from Light Fighter Studies group out on the first wave of helo. And they got over there, they established our control point from leaving the LZ to enter into the bush, and Brent was able to go forward and reconnoiter where he wanted us to set up our defense. Light Fighter Study Group secured our LZ entry, started their initial reconnaissance, and left a small team back to guide in the remaining element to the defense area. I was on the last helo, and my job was to ensure all the sticks got on, and once we got in, to take our remaining group and form up with Brent. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, it's just a simple fact of life, helos only hold so much fuel. And once the helo had lifted in the Missouri militia and then began lifting into the OPFOR into the battle space, they reached a point where they were low on fuel. So they had to suspend airlift for a little while, fly out to the airfield that was nearby, land, fuel up, and then come on back and lift in the 2 remaining sticks. At that point, I grabbed those sticks and then helped join up with the main platoon. With just one helo to lift 2 platoons, as you can imagine, this airlift took quite a while, especially with a fueling break in between. So quite a bit of time had passed since Brent had landed with our reconnaissance element from Light Fighter Study Group. So when I got in with the remainder of the platoon, I linked up with the Light Fighter Studies Group guys that had remained behind to secure the LZ and guide us into the platoon area. Once we got there, we had chow, got everybody fed because it was well past lunchtime at this point, and then we began to set in our defense. At this point, we had set in first squad over on the left flank of the defense, second squad went in on the right, and third was being held in reserve so it could go out and set up the defensive fortifications in front of both of the other squads. Meantime, Light Fighter Studies Group, our reconnaissance element, was out doing their job. They were out doing some recon.
Number combo is numbers adding to 5. So, I know you know already. If I were to say 3, the running password is going to be op4 times 3. Okay, so op4. That is to be used only in an emergency. So let's say you were out on a fucking LPOP, you're about to be overrun, your guys just fucking dropped your shit, or jumped out of your LPOP and you're sprinting back towards our lines. As soon as you're getting towards our lines, you're yelling, op4. Right? Only in an emergency, because the second you guys use that, we got to change it. Okay? Because some of you might not have gotten all the passwords. Right? The standard password is riot and control. You use it in a sentence. You just don't say fucking riot, right? You say, hey, did you see the riots going on in D.C.? Or did you see in Washington there's riots? Okay, something along those lines. And then you reply, yeah, they're trying to get control of it. All right? See how that works? Number combo is numbers adding to 5. All right? So if I say 3 to 2, right? Everybody understand how that works? Okay. Emergency situation. We have an LPOP. I'm giving you an example. Let's say we have an LPOP set up about 100 yards, 100 meters out. All right? It's starting to get overran. You have to fucking beat feet, get out of there, get back to our lines. You're running in, the enemy's chasing you. The running password is op4, because there's no time to do a fucking sentence, right? So it's like the second you use that running password, it's done. We have to change it for everybody. So only use it in an emergency. Preferably, I don't want you guys to have to use challenge passwords because it compromises your position and gives you away. All right? So if you just hear some fucking rustling in the bushes and you're 50 to 100 meters out, wait for the motherfucker to come out of the fucking bushes and get positive ID before you start yelling shit. Because if he's an enemy, guess what he's going to do? He's going to turn around and run the fuck back. Alright? If you wait and he comes out of the bushes and all of a sudden you see OD green, then what? He's a good guy. Alright? Comes out of the bush, he's fucking multi-cam, you blast his ass. He's woodland, you blast his ass. Alright? So, passwords, challenging passwords are fucking essentially last resort. Alright? But be sure before you drop the hammer. Okay? Right now, you guys are about to lose your... Oh, never mind. Right now, you guys are the reserve, okay? Once we get established, we'll have like a rest rotation where there's a squad, you know, tasked with doing screening patrols and stuff like that. That's typically going to be you guys right now. However, we've got a lot of priorities at work. These guys are building the positions. They're clearing fields of fire. They're prepping that stuff. You guys are in reserve right now, okay? So if we get hit right now, you're going to mobilize your squad to reinforce wherever we need them, okay? We're going to move to a new COC location. That's where it's going to be the headquarters. It's somewhat in the middle. There's somewhat of a gap in our fucking lines, but it's parallel. So it's like, here's the border, or excuse me, here's the limit of advance, all right? You got a fence running, minefield over here. On this side, you have a fence, minefield over here. So our guys are kind of like this, okay? They have fires forward, but there's an open area in between them. All right, so if the enemy gets through undetected by these guys, they could technically go in right here, right? Our COC is like right here. So that's where our reserve is. So if that happens, guess what you guys are doing? You're getting online, you're fucking assaulting through that, all right? So what I need you guys to do is go grab your packs and grab some of the fencing and whatever additionally you can carry. And I'm going to take you to the new COC area. All right, we're going to start staging all the fencing over there. And once we have all of our packs and fencing and posts and all that shit over there, then we're going to start tasking you guys with this gentleman to start laying in our notional concertina wire. Or simulated concertina wire, I should say. Okay? Some of you might be tasked with working on pews while the wire is being put up. Remember, if we're forward of the line, you got to provide your own security. Okay? So if a dude's working, another dude's holding security. Okay? All right, let's go get our packs.
As you recall earlier in the video, I mentioned that the Missouri militia, who was the Blue 4, they flew in first. So they got their platoon lifted in and then moved out to their positions, and then the Op 4 was lifted in. That gave the Missouri militia plenty of time to get in, set up their base, and then start their course of action. And Captain Ftx did not allow that time to go to waste. He did a textbook movement to contact by having a main body and a left and right vanguard. And they came up on what would have been our right-hand side of the line, where we had the second squad laid into the defense. They moved quickly. While they were doing this, what you see on the screen was happening with the Op 4. So we had just decided to grab our Pioneer gear, our obstacles, and move out to where we were going to put them in place. It so happened that we decided we would start on the right of the line because we had a fence we could tie into. Our intention was to put up our wire and lay out our pews and other such things, and then work from the right to the left side of the line, mainly because the right side of the line was heavily forested with conifer trees. The left side of the line was more open fields with just patches of bushes. So figured with open fields of fire that was going to be easier to defend, because it was already mid-afternoon and priority work was to get the wire up on the tree side that would give the enemy cover for a night infiltration. Just as we had moved, or I should say just as we completed moving the obstacle and fortification gear up to what was going to be our CP, we got hit. Initially, we thought it was just a probing attack, but then the amount of fire increased. And then from where we had set up the CP, we began to see camouflage. And since all the Op 4 was wearing OD green, we knew that was bad. Brent moved forward, taking a significant amount of the third squad with him, and I stayed back at the CP with a few guys prepared. Not sure long after that, Brent went down. I then began to move forward and take command of what was left, and it wasn't long after that I got hit. The enemy had hit our line pretty hard. The right of our line had a machine gun position that was holding out, but it was forcing people off to the left into our position where we were not set. We did not have our defensive positions dug, and literally while I stuck my head up to look around to see where our line was and what gaps to fill is when I went down. But the small unit leaders did their job, and they did it well, and they were able to hold the line. We ultimately prevailed in this battle. I'll let Tyler Jackson of the Light Fighter Studies Group, who was in the reconnaissance section and had a pretty good overview of this battle, explain what happened.
All right, it's 1800. We lost about half of our guys. They actually launched a full-blown assault on us, at least I think. I just got respawned. This is the commander of the Light Fighters Support Group?
Studies group, yeah.
Studies Group. But they were in the fight the whole time. I think they only lost one guy.
Yeah.
So he's about to give me a brief on what transpired while we were dead. But our lines held, we repelled their assault, and on you, man. What we got?
So when they initiated the attack, they definitely crossed the creek right down here.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about why we're very confident when we found their infiltration route. But we heard that, we got our gear ready, and by the time by the time the attack had started to culminate, we had worked the edge of the line here. I had sent a fire team down this end and followed the creek bed.
Okay.
I wanted to see if I can get around them on the left side. And then we were working the right side because this is where their main attack was coming from. We didn't hear any other contact anywhere else, so there was no feint. It was all, they massed right here, right past north of the creek. They were attrited by the time we got there. That machine gun position that you put in place on the edge, they're still alive. They had chewed up the majority of those guys.
Yeah.
When we reinforced, there was one guy left up here. There was two. Machine gun team had killed one, and then we policed up the last guy.
Okay.
I took one casualty, so my 10-man section at that point pushed down. We consolidated on the creek bed while your other squad stayed in position, and so we held that for about an hour. At that point, we heard some guys talking, and so we formed up a small 3-man patrol. They crossed the creek, got up, and that's when they found their CCP. We confirmed 27 killed.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
You took out 27 of them.
Several of them were their reconnaissance section. So the other thing that we were concerned about this morning is when you guys were doing your leader's reconnaissance for the battle positions, the assembly area bumped a enemy reconnaissance team.
Really?
Now we dumped rounds and they unasked, but we were scared pretty much all morning that they had done a stay behind somewhere in here.
Yeah.
So I'm confident that they're not splitting up and doing multiple patrols. I'm confident they are consolidated like we are as a reconnaissance section. So I believe they are all south of us. I don't think anyone's in our rear area. So that's good. And right now, my reconnaissance team is up in the south corner of Shoebox.
Perfect.
So they're going to stay there until twilight. So we've got, I would say it's 18:15 now. They're supposed to be back by a little before 2000. I gave them till 1945. Okay, so they're going to be in there.
Oh, no, fine. Okay.
They're just going to keep getting as far as possible. And if they can do some harassment tonight, they can. If not, okay, we'll go from there. But as of right now, no one is in this area. So unless they have dumped their reconnaissance section back through here again. My guys have already swept this area and no one's gotten past them. So that should give you a little bit of breathing room to
This is what we're doing. Just so we're on the same page. This squad's continuing to reinforce your positions. These guys are backfilling those positions to their original spots because what's in there is the remnants and part of 3rd Platoon, which were the reserve. I've got guys setting up pews in the creek bed.
Okay.
They have their own internal security, so you don't have to worry about protecting them or anything. I've got guys running wire in here. Same thing. They have their own internal security.
Okay.
And I'm currently running field phone lines to plus these up.
Okay, yes.
I'm bumping my CP back here because, again, from our CP, I saw fucking multicam camis. So I'm concerned that, one, the CP was compromised, and two, when the RD does fall, it's going to take out the whole entire command element. So I want to put them here, and we'll get some overhead cover going down here.
Defilade down here,
Yeah. And then what I need to get with you with is, oh, I thought you were ripping one. What are we gonna do for tonight? Because I'm absolutely all about kicking out maybe a fire team plus, or even a squad for that matter, and setting up some ambushes.
So what I would suggest, if you're sticking in here basically, and you're getting controls, then I can kick my reconnaissance up here.
Yes.
And I can go start putting pressure on them. And if we hear them coming off that mountain, we can start harassing them.
Okay. And my guy with the 77 is putting up his long pole, so we can talk to you.
Okay.
I am concerned that the SOI might have been compromised, so I want to swap to B.
Okay. Okay.
Let's say 1930. Swapping SOI.
My patrol that's still out there only has his one SOI.
Is there a brevity code or anything to swap?
There is, yeah, but he only has his. The rest of them are controlled back at our
All right.
seat.
Well, then
So
I'll hold off on that until
when he gets
I get
back
word
in
from you.
Okay, and then we can switch.
Swap. But we should probably keep that to a minimum, with just the assumption that that was compromised.
Once you guys get good with setting up all your pews and all that stuff, at some point I'll need to link back up with you just to get an obstacle plan, so when my guys come back, back and forth, we're not running into your shed.
I want to set up one approach and one exit out of this place.
Okay, yeah.
So that we can funnel through.
Yeah, I think that's...
After the briefing that you just saw, we set to on our working parties of laying in our defensive wire and our perimeter early warning systems. Unfortunately, before darkness came, we did not complete, and then we had to wait for daylight the next day to complete setting up our defenses. As darkness fell, the Light Fighter Studies Group stepped off on their reconnaissance. They were able to find the enemy base and bring back some good intel, which they went over with Brent, and then Brent formed his plan of what was going to be done during the evening. We received an order from our higher headquarters to conduct an assault on the enemy that night. However, we had no intelligence from higher other than what LSFG had gained for us. Therefore, Brent decided we would conduct a raid. LSSG immediately stepped off to go ahead and proof out a route for us, and then Brent began his planning.
However many hours we've been in the field, our recon studies group has been conducting reconnaissance in addition to screening operations in this area, as well as in this place, which is called the shoebox. Right? This is the suspected enemy AO. It spans several hundred meters. Okay, each one of these box represents 100 meters. Over the course of the last several hours, Light Fighters have determined that they believe the enemy has a patrol base, not a defense like ours, but a patrol base in the middle of the shoebox. Okay, so if you're looking at this map, you're looking at these terrain features. These kind of look like eyes, right? And this comes up, kind of looks like a mouth, right? So they think this suspected patrol base is right of the shoebox. If you're looking at it like the shape of a face in the shoebox, all right? For those of you who have maps, all right? Does everybody understand? Okay. Now this is very arduous terrain. It's very thick. So instead of taking the whole unit, all right, I made the call. Look how fucking dark it is. It's hard enough to see with PVS-14s. I made the call to be fucking Leonidas and take the 300 Spartans rather than take everybody. So we're leaving the Athenians here to hold down the rear. Okay. So all the guys without nods are staying here to hold security at our defense. Okay. Now here's the caveat to this. Our respawn time is on the hours. Okay, so our respawn time is at 04. We're going to try to time our attack about 15 minutes before 04. So if any of us get killed, you're going to make your way back to the OC, who's going to be with us. He'll be maybe 15, 20 meters behind our lines with a red lens flashlight yelling, CCP on me. You go to him, you take a knee, you wait, 04 on the dot, he'll revive you, you're back in the fight. Alright? Now my orders from higher were to conduct an attack no later than 05 on the enemy. My question to them was, where exactly is the enemy? And they said, conduct a movement contact. So, we don't know exactly where the enemy is. Alright, we're going off of our reconnaissance. Now our reconnaissance thus far has been pretty good. Alright? They had eyes on the enemy CCP when we got attacked, and they determined that they took 26 casualties by counting dead personnel. Okay? So, remember how many bodies we had stacked up over here? They had more. Alright? We repelled their attack, guys. We are very much in this fight. So now we're going to take the fucking fight to them. Alright? We're leading back the guys that don't have nods to hold down the fort while we go out there and fucking infiltrate. Alright? So here's the plan. We were supposed to be guided by light fighters. I'm still waiting to get updated word on that. They were supposed to guide us into an area that they reconnoitered and found crossing into the shoebox, because it's pretty tricky. You're supposed to get guided down there. I haven't got an update on that. If he doesn't show in the next 10 minutes or so, I'm just going to make the call and we're going to push.
8-5 came through. He said 8-3 is most likely en route, but I haven't raised 8-3.
Okay, well, we'll see. Regardless, I can get us down here. Once we get down to the opening in the tree line, there's a barbed wire fence, which on the other side is a minefield. All right, it's boundary. We're going to skirt that, and it comes uphill to a place that we always call the nipple. All right, because it's the terrain feature, it's like a nipple. It's on top of the fucking hill. So with that being said, gentlemen, this is not going to be an easy trek. Okay, this is going to be about 700 meters there with a fight, and then 700 meters back. So you're talking over a click. Okay, 813's fucking Marine Corps Rocket Squad, right? Okay, so here's the mission, fellas. Once we get some nipple, we're going to form a 360. I've got a compass man and a point man. My point man has NVG/thermals. All right, one eye is fucking NVGs, the other eye is thermal. So he's going to be looking for heat signatures. Directly behind him, I have a compass man. The compass man is going to keep him on a due east heading. This map is upside down, by the way, because it's oriented. He's going to set him on a due east heading. We're going to head due east. All right. And hopefully, we get a good. All right. Once we get a visual contact, we're going to stop short. We're going to check our time hacks. And if our time hacks match up, like I said, we want to kick this off about 15 minutes prior to and we'll launch our raid. Here's our priorities. We are not. I have no expectations of us overrunning them. Gentlemen, their force is like 2-3 times our size. All right, we're not overrunning them. Now, with that being said, if we take the initiative and we just start steamrolling, we're going to keep going. But at some point, we're going to reach culmination. Okay? And we're going to get out of there. The extraction plan is 3 whistle blasts. 3 long whistle blasts. So not just boop, boop, boop. It's boop, boop, boop. There's multiple people with whistles here. All right? The succession of command. Me, Les, Hamilton, Butler. Okay? Anybody have any questions about that? So if you're calling out PL or APL and you're not hearing shit, we're fucking dead. Alright? We're fucking dead. Take charge. Right? Limited objectives. Got 2. 1, want to kill as many as we can before we pull out. 2, I want to hit a bunker or 2, and I want to capture intelligence. Do any of you have cell phones on you? 3 of you. I need you 3 in the rear with your cell phone ready to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one is in third squad. I gave him my full pick, so we have one SSG guy already.
Okay.
And he's all in the room.
Alright. I want you guys in the rear. What's going to happen is, if we take an enemy fighting position and there's a dead enemy sitting in it, you're going to ask him for intel. He's obligated to give you. If he hands you intel, you yell out, titties, 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 3 times, as loud as you can. That's going to let the exploitation guys know, get to that fighting position, take a picture of that fucking intel, and then hand it back to the dead enemy. You understand? Yep. You know, we're looking for maps, we're looking for SOIs, stuff like that. I want to try to take at least 1, preferably 2 fighting positions, okay? But like I said, if we reach those objectives, we're going to keep pushing. Now, we do not have time to do rehearsals. I wish we could. Originally, I wanted to do guys' teams, but I'm going to do it. Whoever the point man is, he's the base, okay? Next guy goes to his left or right. I don't give a fuck. The next guy acts off him. So if the guy in front of you goes to the left, you go to the right. Do not have wide dispersion. It's too fucking dark. It's nighttime. I'm talking like 3-4 feet to your left or your right is the next guy. We get online, we push forward, we fuck them up. Okay? When we start losing control, we're gonna back out of there. We're conducting a raid, right? We're not taking their fucking whole control base unless they just surrender and fall over and die, right? Does anybody have any questions over any stuff I just covered?
Yeah.
What you got?
So, no fire teams with 5, just one big unit?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's going to be the best way to do this.
So should we like, have we counted off in terms of who's wearing the call?
So I have point man designated. I've got my compass man designated. We've got our exploitation guys staying in the back, and Les Winter will be the very last guy with the OCs. What you got?
So we're not going to get a signal to start the fire. We're just going to base off point man when you start shooting.
Okay.
Start shooting.
Thank you. Very good question. So his question was, what's going to kick off this raid? So assuming that he sees the initiative, they haven't heard us, we're online, we're ready to go. I mounted this big fucking monstrosity to my rifle. You guys see this shit? This fucking thing is no shit like 500 meters of IR illumination. It's like a fucking
It's another sun.
it's like a fucking spotlight for IR. And it works. I tested it. So my plan is I'm going to illuminate whichever bunker I see. Alright? And it's going to do 2 things. It's going to illuminate it for you guys, and it's also going to blind the fuck out of them. Okay, so it should give you guys a nice target reference. So I'm going to be painting targets. I'm going to do less shooting. I might do some shooting. I like to kill people too, you know. But my primary goal is to designate targets for you guys. Alright, so I'm going to try to designate with this fucking thing. Alright, so once that goes on, it's game on. Alright, filled up, and let's see, I got 0 to 10 right now. I want to step in the next 10 to 15 minutes max. Everybody good? One thing I didn't cover, gentlemen. If we reach the middle AO here, and haven't found them, we're gonna pull a 360, and we're gonna sit and wait for a while to see if we hear anything. Okay, so we have till 05 to conduct an attack. So if we hit this middle area and haven't found them, we're just gonna pull a 360 and listen for noise. Hey, listen up, everybody, listen up. you're good, you're good. So we made our way. Let's see, where are we at, right?
Right. Black tape.
Black tape, okay. All right, so we're here. So.
This is our pouch right here.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we boogied all the way down to the edge of this property here. We've got a route marked. Most of it's the road. We got to the edge of here. We marked the obstacle, found the passage point. My team went ahead and pushed up to the nipple.
Okay.
So they breadcrumbed it from here all the way up to here.
Do you guys know what breadcrumbing is?
No.
So it's chem lights.
We got little bitty mini chem lights. You'll be able to see them. But you just got to be on the trail, basically. So, however, as we came back down, so I got about halfway up here and was like, okay, our time, we're busting time. So gave them instructions to breadcrumb, and then we're going to come back. As we crossed this passage point and got to the other side, we took a real quick security halt, and we heard enemy moving down this creek bed.
Okay.
So we watched, we looked, we kind of tucked back a little bit. They crossed, not at our passage point, but I don't know, maybe 25, 30 meters east. And then they came out in the open field. They were using the road because they dropped a massive fucking Kim on the road somewhere. And then that's where we lost them. So I would estimate that anywhere from 4 to 5 guys. Just about the dispersion we could hear between the first guy that got out of the creek and the last guy that got out of the creek. Yeah, I'm sure it's their scouts. So they're in here right now.
You hearing this?
So my biggest concern is I guarantee they saw our route marked on the road, and they've been using that road too. So if I were them, I mean, the most dangerous course of action is to lay up an ambush on that road, which is our info route. So one alternative is as we conduct the passage of lines here, we could actually dog leg out, and we proofed a route back, but I don't have any more markers. So it'd be slow going through here, but we could go through the conifers, and that would at least eliminate the threat of an ambush on that road, because they're not in the conifers, but they could be anywhere to the west.
Do they see our route along the fence line?
Negative. They didn't get that far down, so they didn't see our passage point right here. They crossed right here, and then at some point they picked up the road, which we have a few Kims on the road, like little breadcrumb Kims, and then they dropped a massive orange one. So I'm confident if we can get to this passage point, we're golden. Because now, doesn't mean they won't be able to hear us. And I don't know, we could catch them coming back. But I've got guys right there, right now. I've got 4 guys up there. So I'm going to try to get them on the radio real quick, see what they've heard and seen. But yeah, that's what we got right now. So it's a good route. There was nobody.
Well, we're going to push. Around. We're leaving like I said, we're leaving a residual force. So
the raid was successful. We found the enemy, we hit their lines, we got the PIR we were after. We did take casualties. Out of a 13-man patrol, we took 9 casualties, which is pretty heavy. But we found out later from the OCs we inflicted over 20 casualties on the enemy. So an expensive raid, but one that was well worth the effort. Upon returning from the raid and getting some rest, we then turned to and finishing setting up our defenses.
All right. Well, we've had significant activity since we've been out here. We've been hit and repelled an enemy raid yesterday. Then we did a night raid on them and inflicted significant damage on the enemy. And today we've had minor contact, but we have one out in the field that's developing. And we're highly confident the enemy is mission tasked to attack our lines while the sun is still shining. So we're coming up with our contingency plans and getting ready to repel said attack.
Oh,
The front.
This
we
way up?
went straight up.
Oh, okay. So this is where you guys came from. Okay, so they have. So me and my other fire team came up here, and I split down this way, and he split this way. He's still going.
Okay.
So he'll continue to develop the situation this way and report back. We went this way, noticed the obstacle belt, so we kind of dropped down in this draw. We started coming back up. We noticed there was a fence line here, and a 2-man LPOP.
Okay.
There is a gap between that LPOP and their passage point. This is the passage point right here.
Gotcha.
Okay, so it's like coming down into a slight little draw, and then it dips down further. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know it's their passage point because once we did a cloverleaf here, we noticed 1400 they did a guard change. Okay.
And so the guys came down, bebopping, smoking joke, fucking stand up, pick their nose, came back through here. Okay, at that point, me and one other guy, we left a 2-man security element back here, and we decided, well, let's see how big of a gap between their LPOP and the passage point's at. We didn't know it was their passage point at first. We knew they were passing somewhere through there, at least to the LPOP, but I'm confident that is their entire patrol passage point, because right when we got here, the entire scout section came out.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so they were going on patrol, and they caught us in between the LPOP.
Is that what the
and the
firefight
passage.
was?
Yes.
Okay.
We killed their first 2 guys right in the passage lane.
What color uniform?
Multicam. It was S&S guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so they lottie-dottie everybody, all 12 of them were coming through that funnel, and we lit them up and unassed back to here. I took 1 casualty here, and then we all unassed back towards the creek. They did a pursuit all the way down that terrain feature to the creek.
Wow.
So they were in force, like they were. They're wanting to, eat something.
Yeah.
And so they were ready to fight. So they were definitely coming out to do some type of patrol.
Show me where they're, if you don't mind, show me where their minefield.
Here, and then we saw some more, but I can't confirm how far it goes because I didn't get eyes on.
Gotcha.
My other team will.
So
but
it's
it's right here. There's a big minefield right here, and then there's obstacle belt, and then obstacle belt.
Can you point it out on the map for me?
Yeah.
It's a good sketch. I want to see. I understand, but I just want to
So
make sure.
it's probably like right in here, or I guess that's where yeah, it's probably right in here. So right at the end of this saddle, where the terrain starts coming up.
Yeah.
That's their flank. Their passage points down here.
Well, that's one good thing. I mean, this is game playing, but we never allow people to put mines to the front.
I see. Now I couldn't confirm fighting positions on this side, but at their passage point, they definitely have a fighting position because I saw them do the link up.
Yeah.
And then another smoke and joke session, and then they fucking walked out. So.
Okay.
And then like I said, we shot them. They shot back. We took 1 dead, 2 wounded, patched up our wounded, and got across the creek. They pursued us all the way down to that creek. So right here along this edge. And then when we got out in the scrub, we dog-legged, and we could tell they stopped. They were like, yeah, we're not going to go chase them in there. Stag's still out there. He's on the backside. So,
Perfect. Got comms with him.
well, here's the thing. We can't get comms with him because we just fucking unasked. And by the time we got somewhere I could talk, I'm down in a low terrain feature. My other team's also down a terrain feature, so if we can try to get a hold of them with your radio, we've got line of sight as long as they're not on the backside of that hill. So that's the only thing. So if you don't mind, we try to raise them on your radio.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
I'm
then,
already your radio.
Hey, so question for you. How likely are they going to be attacking in the next hour?
I think that was their scout, their route selection scout element.
We
I think
think-
they were doing a route
We
reconnaissance
think
for
their
their
respawns are at 17:30, so we think they're
bottom of the hour.
Yep.
Okay. Well, and then what time did they hit us? So we got, let me see here. I wrote it down because I knew I'd forget after that. So at 1450, 1455 to 1450 to 1455, we witnessed that guards change. One guy walked up, relieved the other guy. It looked like it was just one man at the time. And then the other guy walked back.
Let me ask you this, because we just got done devising an elaborate plan, operating on the assumption that there's S&S behind us.
I know. I saw their
100%.
whole section, all 12 of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, then that answers that.
all 12 of them were in there.
You know what? And that team leader decides you need help, he'll commit those guys. Okay? That's fine. If you hear the command, swimmer, that means the attack's developed over here. You need to send every other man from the position down to reinforce this side.
Roger that.
If you hear the command, mountain climber, every other guy from this side is coming to reinforce you.
Okay.
All right?
Swimmer, mountain climber.
Yep.
Got it.
You have to do something on swimmer. Mountain climber means help's coming to you.
Right.
All right.
Well, things didn't unfold as we expected that they would, but as General Mattis says, the enemy gets a vote too. So we had expected to get hit before nightfall due to the fact that we assumed the enemy had very limited nade capabilities. And it turns out they in fact did, but still pressed on with an attack because they were ordered by their higher headquarters to do so. One thing that we did predict that did come true is we figured the attack would be preceded by an artillery barrage. And the contingency plan you just saw briefed was to deal with that. Now, for this attack, we had 2 squads on the line, one on the left, one on the right. They had bunkers and overhead cover. The 3rd squad was kept back behind the CP, but dispersed in the following pattern. One team was sent to reinforce the left, and one was sent to reinforce the right. The third was sent under the command of the CP. All three of these teams were moved 100 meters back, and that was so when the artillery fell, they would be out of a blast effectiveness range. Also, those teams were to provide rear security, but the team leaders were given the following instruction: orient towards our rear. However, the team leader was to keep his eye on the front of the line. If he saw the fight develop to his front and he thought that he needed to go reinforce, he had the authority to do that without any command from the command element. He had the initiative and could take it if he needed to. The team that was orientated behind the command element had the ability that on the command of the command element could reinforce either side. Additionally, we assumed the enemy attack would come on one or other sides of the line, and we came up with a contingency plan for reinforcement by the squad that was unengaged, as you've previously seen. When the attack came that night, the artillery barrage was very effective. They determined that one bunker was completely killed, and it also managed to kill a total of 8 people out of a 13-man squad manning that side of the line. However, we were prepared for that, and our dispersal plan protected most of our force. We immediately, under the command of the PL and the RTO, they displaced forward to get out of the CP in case it was targeted, and they took an element with them to reinforce the squad that was getting hit. Additionally, I gave the command for one side of the line, the swimmer command, to go reinforce the other side of the line. It was an effective plan, however, it did not happen quickly due to the night was just absolutely pitch black, and the squad that was on that side of the line had few night division devices, and they were in the heavily wooded area, which was blocking out whatever little light could get through the trees, so they had to move at a snail's pace. However, when they got there and they linked up with the PL, they eventually did roll the enemy up, and we were able to stabilize the line. With the devastating artillery attack, the enemy did manage to get some elements behind the line. They did come back and blow up the CP where I was located, but our dispersal plan worked because Brent and the RTO had gone forward to manage the battle, because our third squad had been so dispersed and had maneuvered independently. When the CP was attacked, the only person in it was me. So I was killed when the bunker was destroyed, but that was it. They didn't really take out the command of the defense, and that was to prove pivotal in us holding the line. Also, our third squad that was dispersed amongst the rear proved to be a big problem for the enemy because it did not allow them to capitalize being in the rear. And additionally, we had to keep that security out later in the night once the attack was over, because the enemy kept probing us from the rear. So that interfered with our sleep program, and it also became a big factor in our planning for our assault on the enemy the following day. After the enemy attack was repelled and we completely respawned our force, we then began to set out for our next mission. We were tasked to assault the enemy base at dawn. We were given a 0745 artillery strike, and we came up with our plan. After dissemination of the plan, we redistributed ammo, topped off on water, and got a little bit of rest. Unfortunately, with worry of enemy in the rear, rest did not come in the quantities we would have liked. However, when the time came to assemble, all the squads were ready to go. We met at our assembly point on the lines, and we walked out the line in the order with LSFG leading us on and proofing the route for us, and made our way to the assault position. We got to the assault position undetected, and we waited for the artillery strike. We were down in the prone, and the simulated strike was to be 105 artillery. We were just a little over 100 meters back from the enemy lines, danger close, probably as close as you could be if it was real artillery, and be in the prone and not take hits. So luckily, the gods shined upon us and the rain came. You couldn't ask for a better set of circumstances to make an assault with. The assault went forth. We hit the enemy with violence of action. I went in with the 3rd squad hitting our part of the objective, and we had wiped out the enemy and taking our side of the objective in 60 seconds. While the 3rd squad had achieved their objective very quickly, 1st and 2nd squads were still involved in a very pitched battle. Now, as I had mentioned earlier in the videos, that the respawn times were not what we thought. We knew ours were at the top of the even hours, and we assumed that the enemies were at the bottom of the odds. Turns out they had the exact same respawn time as they did. So that meant respawn time was 0800. If you recall, I earlier mentioned the artillery barrage was at 0745. So we hit the enemy, we took the objective very quickly, and they fell back. And while we were consolidating and reorganizing on the objective, they got reorganized and they slammed right back into us. And it was a pretty damn good assault. I know I went down in a jousting contest, bayonet to bayonet, with my opposite number on the other side. If you're going to go out, what a way to go. But the enemy tried to take that objective back. We held, but by the hair of our chinny chin chin. We took a lot of casualties in that counterattack. And we held that until Brent got over to our location after securing the other side of the objective with the 1st and 2nd squads, and then he chose to press on and take out the log base. After repelling the Missouri militia's counterattack, we were holding the line, but barely on our side of the objective. But just then, LSFG came in to reinforce us, and it was a welcome sight to see.
Yeah, do we want a clipboard? Yeah, got it. Stay back. Prepare for counterattack! One more going that way, guys! Who's the senior man over here?
Come on, go. Cross it.
First squad fire team leader.
After taking and reducing the other half of the enemy base, Brent brought the remnants of 1st and 2nd squad over to our position to consolidate and reorganize.
No, yes, sir.
Which way? Hey, do me a favor? Yes, sir. Just cover our 6. You got it. Okay? Yep. We've already got a 360. Yes, sir. Oh, yes, I have. They are.
How we doing on ammo?
Blue 4 is down the road here. Did pull through.
Okay. You good, Santiago? Good.
No chatter. Keep it. Take a knee, please.
You got one friendly? Go ahead and push up to the tree line. Okay. I want you to push over here. Okay. All right. Cover that. Have you approach? Yeah, both of these. Okay, excellent. Here. Come over here. Come over here. Come over here. Orient this way. Yeah. All right. And we got friendlies behind us that way, but the enemy is circling around.
Anybody on the left of me?
Oh boy, I need another gun over here. Talk to me. What you got, Santiago? They're going left.
Okay, I'll move my guys over.
All right. Okay.
All right, let's go, Stack.
Move it. Echo 90, Echo 90. This is India 55 actual. Over.
Hey, the whole squad went left. Whole squad went left. They still didn't have their hats on though. They're probably reinserted somewhere.
Roger, copy. Great. Any Op 4 unit, roger up, so I can get an idea of what we got left. Over. Hotel 56, are you alive? Over. Anyone from
I'm
first
dead.
squad?
He's alive.
You had a radio. Over.
Got a minute? I'll do what you finish what you're doing. I want to talk to you.
Yeah, what you got?
Okay. Well, what's your status?
Well, we hold both objectives.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
All right.
So I got a 360 here. We do have some remaining Blue 4 still milling around in the woods.
Yeah, not much, but you do have some out there. At least down here. Now, Describe me your two objectives. This is clearly an objective. What was your other objective?
The other objective was the supply depot.
Okay. What about, have you seen any vehicles?
I personally haven't, no, not yet.
Okay. One of the objectives was vehicles, right? I mean, that was what was described by the reconnaissance, was military vehicles.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to do? You want to just hold this? I mean, you got it. You have it decisively. You want to just hold what you got here with, given the resources you have?
I'll try to locate those vehicles, see what's going on.
Okay. Do you have a map?
Yeah.
Okay. Remember what they said was in front of the vehicles? I said right in front of the vehicle.
Storage containers.
No, it was a trail. It was a trail. It was a vehicle trail, how they're getting in and out. That's what your intel told you.
Okay.
Okay. Where's the only trail you see here?
It's right in front of us.
Yeah, and that way, right? And you just came from that way.
Yeah.
So, vehicles need a trail.
Right.
If you want to hit them, then hit them. If you want to tell me, nope, we're good, we're holding what we got, let's do that too. Have you got commo with your light fighters?
Yes.
And what's their status, do you know?
They're moving around, they're reorganizing, but they're still in the fight as well.
Okay, well, you can, in the clear, maybe tell them to move to the sound of battle.
Light fighters, yeah, 5-5 actual. Any light fighter element, this is India 5-5 actual. Hey Roger, have you got eyes on any vehicles, enemy vehicles? Over. Okay, Roger. Be on the lookout for vehicles you're trying to track down any remaining Blue 4 vehicles or positions. Over.
Pushing left! Push out forward and pushing left!
Imagine a deuce and a half, something along those lines. Over. Hey Richard, you see any vehicles?
They're pushing, I need somebody over here.
I've got 5 guys here, red on ammo, red on.
Where? Where are there 5? Over here? Okay. Push over here. I'm going to send a fire team down this road. All right?
You want those guys to push up with me?
No, just you. Hey gentlemen, how many you got?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. Give me 3 of you. Joe, you stay. You 3. I need you to conduct.
There's a camo building directly over here.
Is it a building or is it a truck?
It's a canteen with a hunting line.
Okay. Look, skirt down this trail and then hook left. We're trying to locate some vehicles or some sort of ASP or resupply log area.
Okay.
Okay?
Hook left down this road?
No, go down this trail.
Yeah.
Right? And start hooking left. Push down, see if you can find those vehicles. Right?
How far do you want to stay?
Just follow it down, see if it goes to the end of the road. Okay? You got Blue 4 circling around to that left side. Okay? If need be, circle around and try to engage them, okay?
Trying to get one more room.
Help him out. So he's posted up here, orient this direction. Alright? Yeah. What you got, Santiago?
I'm here, I don't see him.
Alright, hey. Off 4 on the right. You hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, those hooches in front of us down the trail, do you know what those are? No? How many you got over here?
I'm here by myself.
No, you should have Will over here. Where'd Will go?
Kevin was on my left, but I guess he pushed into the woods.
Will! Will! Oh, he did push in the wood. Will!
Alright! Yes, keep sweeping from left to right. There's the other off-4 guy back here. Post up over here. And we got recon pushing down this road. Okay?
A sit rep of the situation from OC perspective, if you
Sure.
can.
So, 7:45 this morning, they had an artillery attack here, dropped a bunch of aerial bursts, and then smoke. There was a delay, artillery attack down in the low ground while the assault started up on high ground, so that protected them, disrupted it, and from there, the big melee happened. So we had multiple different teams. It looked like Light Fighter Study Group, which was the recon element, started assaulting from here as a diversionary tactic, and the rest of them came up from the Blue 4. Good battle, good battle. They just bloodied the living hell out of each other. From what I can tell, it looks like I think Blue 4 took so far 21 casualties. I don't know about the Light Fighter, the recon team, and then the that's Op 4 took 21. Blue 4 has taken, not everybody, but 2 of the elements. The recon is out 100%, so that's like 8 or 10 guys, and then their platoon is out, which is, I think it's 26. But they do have another squad out. They have an allied squad out at this time who continues to fight. So that's what's going on. Op 4 decided not to hold what they got. They decided to gamble it. They've linked up with their reconnaissance, Light Fighter Study Group, and they have now met on this objective, and they are pushing to the, they're pushing to the east along this logging trail. And that's our status as of this point. They're pushing hard, but they're pushing at 50%, a little over.
Do it on the right side because the propeller wins.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Hit the right. That's why I was going to do it.
Light fighters, up 4 behind you. Up 4.
Watch out.
Hey, so Blue 4 all the way down the road on the right.
They can fire down the road, so cross fast.
Blue 4 all the way down the road. Right of the road.
Be parallel to the road, right in front of you, 50 yards. Get out the road. And if you guys can push forward, join you.
Okay, smoke out.
Okay. Cover, I'm going to move up. Moving. You want some of this?
Hmm?
Yep. Call it out, Taylor. It was on the far side of the where that yellow smoke was.
Leo, time check.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Since we're backfield, yeah, you want to push off to the left.
Moving forward.
Stay with me.
Yeah, we can swap. You got an empty? Yeah.
I got 5 rounds left.
Yeah, one back. What?
Yeah. One magazine. I have one fresh one. That's it. I'm fucked. Not fucked. I mean, like. Well, I'm dead. Oh yeah. Wait. You are dead.
Everybody repeat. If you got a radio, repeat. Index.
Index! Well done, brother. And with that, the exercise was over. The OPFOR triumphed over the Blue FAR, but it was a hard-won fight. But it was an excellent fight, and kudos to all participants on both sides, because they gave it their all, and everybody did their best, and no one can say any different. After Index was called, the OPFOR, we retrograded back to our base camp, took apart our defense, and made the long march back to the FOB. So it was time to clean gear, have a hot wash on the AAR, and have steaks and beer. We hope you found this coverage of One Shepherd's 40th anniversary helpful and informative. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and do your best to get out to a One Shepherd event.